What's up? This is Zeb, and I'm the host of My HWY podcast, sponsored by Regions Bank. We're back today in person, and we are at Jordan Davis's house. We're going to sit down with him and his brother, Jacob Davis. We also got to meet Jordan's beautiful wife and baby girl. Jordan is a Nashville recording artist signed to Universal Records. He's most known for his 3 platinum #1 singles, including Singles You Up, Slow Dance in a Parking Lot, and Take It From Me, that is co-written with his brother, Jacob Davis. You might also know Jordan Davis from his collaboration with Julia Michaels on a song called Cool Anymore. And most recently, Jordan has released a self-titled EP that includes 2 songs written with his brother Jacob. Today we're going to talk about what it's like being brothers in the music industry and how Jacob was able to transition from being an artist to a hit songwriter, and how they have got to work together on building songs that have made Jordan's career. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out today. I'm excited to have y'all here and just to talk about your story and being brothers in the music business. I was pretty pumped whenever we found out that we could make this work, so thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
We wanted to start today just talking about how y'all came from Louisiana and moved to Nashville, and more so just talk about your childhood and how music played a role in that.
You moved first. You started up.
Yeah. Well, as far as our childhood goes, I mean, our parents both are musical, but on completely different levels. I think my mom is a great piano player, played in the church, and, a really good singer. So that was kind of always around. And then my dad was kind of like a cowboy poet, I guess you would say.
Definitely Chris Christopherson vibes.
So I don't think he was much of he wouldn't call himself too much of a vocalist, but he was definitely, he was always at the end of the hall picking on a guitar and making up little songs and stuff. So it was always around. But yeah, dude, it was always there. And our uncle was a songwriter in Nashville, and we just always thought that, I remember being a kid, we were like, our friends, thought that the artist was the one that, he sings a song, he wrote the song. And you're like, no, man, no, it's this whole thing in Nashville. They're songwriters. And you remember telling buddies that?
Like, nobody cared. They're like, dude, I don't care who writes Tim McGraw songs. Like, they're great. I like when Tim McGraw sings them. But, yeah, I mean, like, we definitely got a glimpse at what Nashville was long before moving to town. Very early age, probably, when Uncle Stan would, bring buddies back to Shreveport for holidays, and, he'd sit around and play songs that were on hold for Tracy and, other artists. I think Doug Stone, like a few, like some of those, early country artists that we grew up listening to. It was always cool to sit around and listen to him talk to my dad, my Uncle Mark, about what was going on in Nashville and everything that was going on. Me and Jacob just kind of sitting there listening. So yeah, that was like our first intro into kind of the inner workings of Nashville.
Yeah, and I know we talked about it a little before we started, but just talk about, I know he had Better Man, Better Off and a few Tracy Lawrence songs, but do y'all remember those whenever you were kids? Like, do you remember hearing those songs on the radio or your family talking about those?
Oh yeah, dude.
I do. I was the one, like, I can remember hearing Tracy come on at the radio, because remember Papa had, which another funny story about my grandfather, they had this old radio at the shop. My dad and my grandpa had a shop they had for probably 50 years, huh?
Upholstery shop. They upholstered furniture.
Yeah.
In Shreveport, yeah.
And so they would always keep it on. I think it was Kiss Country in Shreveport.
Oh, yeah,
93.7. 93.7. They were huge fans of Uncle Stan. So they would always play, if he had a single out like Better Man or Today's Only Fool, they would always play it, at least awesome. Once a day. And I can remember, any time the only knob that was on the radio was the volume knob, because you remember this Papa.
Oh yeah.
He didn't want to have to. It was the old radio that you would have to like tune
with the dials on it.
Yeah, so you would have to have that little white thing in, like, right in between the numbers, and like if you went too far, it was like a little fuzzy. So like every once in a while you could find it like perfect. So Papa would find that perfect 93.7 crystal clear coming through, and he would take the knob off of it so that you couldn't
change the station.
So anytime it never failed, man. Anytime Uncle Stan would come on or one of Uncle Stan's songs, Papa would get everybody to be quiet and be like, "Oh, Uncle Stan wrote this one," and like, "We know Papa."
It's crazy.
Yeah, but no, we definitely know. Like, I mean, Better Man, the hardest thing I'll ever do.
That's
is to
hilarious.
walk away, still loving you. And we could, I mean, like the first time, it came on. But dude, like we were kids around my grandmother's house on the floor, and he got his guitar out, and I just remember like me and Jordan just were mesmerized by, how he's an incredible singer. I think better than both of us.
Oh, he's the best Davis singer by
Oh,
far.
dude,
I
hands
thought
down.
he sang. I mean, sorry, Tracy, but I thought he did Better Man than Today's Only Fool better than Tracy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it really is like just a amazing vocalist, and it was so cool then because we got early demo tapes. Back then, he would be making demos. It's still on 8-track tapes.
So to say, were they cassettes?
Yeah.
And he would come back and play still Papa's favorite song, Will.
Yeah.
And
To Make a Love Story Short was the name of the song,
yeah.
but it was about a guy named Will. And dude, just like it's just so.
So
good,
we would
so
hear
well
all. I mean,
written.
it's just like even now today, where we being in the music business, our favorite songs are probably songs that haven't been cut, probably demos that we've heard that you're pitching or.
Yeah.
So we were early on, 10 years old, getting to hear some of Uncle Stan's songs that were just unbelievable. But yeah, getting to celebrate whenever he'd have a cut. And I always talking about his Ken Mellon song, Rub-a-Dubbin'.
Oh, yeah,
Have you ever
dude.
heard that song?
No.
Rub-a-dubbin' in my tub, he's
Sleeping in my bed, watching my TV, he's scratching my dog's head.
Was that after the other two?
It was after Today's Only Fool, before Better Man.
Oh, it was in between.
Yeah.
I think it died at like 30 or something like that. He could tell you
Wow.
exactly where it died.
Yeah.
He said,
Dude.
but yeah, that was a Ken Mellon single in between.
But to
Rub-a-Dubbin'.
answer that, Zeb, is like that. Uncle Stan, like the more that we talk about it, he was probably our biggest influence
Yeah.
as far as chasing this, man, because we just knew at that early age like that it could be done. And
Yeah.
no one was ever telling us like, this is crazy, you can't do this. And our
Yeah.
parents weren't even saying like, this is impossible, because I mean we saw it at a young age. Like, look what our uncle does. So
And that's what's crazy to me is because I got in the business and no one in my family works in the business. So they're all ag related family and everyone has cattle and stuff back home. But when I moved to Nashville, it was like, what the heck is happening? Like, how does that even work? All we know is songs that are on the radio. So
Yeah.
to have someone in the family that's doing that, I bet that was crazy.
it was inspiring,
man.
man, for sure.
Now I know that Jacob, you moved here first.
Yeah.
Do you think that for you, did you know at that age, like, this is what I want to do, or did it take like going to college and everything else before you were like, I want to try this? Like, when did you pick up a guitar? When did you start realizing like this is what I want to do?
Probably took some Bears nights.
Oh yeah, it did. A bar in Baton Rouge called Bears. Jordan knows them well. He may not
Goodness
remember
gracious,
them, but he
man.
knows them. But we, yeah, Zeb. Music was always, like I said, around, and I learned how to play guitar from my dad. But I didn't know how much I loved it until I was in college. So it was, I guess, probably my sophomore year, or junior year at LSU. And even like just playing around the house, me and Jordan both just picking around the house and around the fire and trying to impress girls,
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I got on a stage, it was my senior year at LSU, I played an open mic night. And the first reaction I got from playing, I think it was Don't Rock the Jukebox or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, like they're clapping, and I was hooked. I just remember being like, I got to do that again. I remember looking up at the guy behind the bar that owned it, and we got 3 songs to play, and I played 3 songs. You remember that? It was at that bar downtown.
With Borne.
Yeah, but the bar was called I think Boudreaux and Thibodeau's maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
You know who
Boudreaux
else
and
was
Thibodeau's.
there that night? Ernie Halter. You remember Ernie Halter?
Oh yeah, dude, he was great.
Yeah. He was just like passing through Baton Rouge.
That's right. He got
Do
up
you know
and
Ernie?
played.
Yeah, I know of him.
Dude.
So he was there randomly passing through Baton Rouge. And me and Jacob rolling there, like, he's doing
like some
his
clowns, man.
3 songs. I was just there drinking, and he gets up there and does his 3 songs. I think it was you, Bernie, and Borne.
Yeah, Borne hosted it, and
Yeah.
David Borne's here now writing songs.
Yeah.
So we ran in the same circles with David Borne, our buddy Benji Davis.
Yeah.
You know, we played a lot of the same bars. But anyway, that night I remember looking at the guy behind the bar, and I'd played my 3 songs, and there was nobody else there. And he was like, "Just keep going, man. Just keep going." So I played the same 3 songs over. You know, but then I was hooked, and I wound up getting the gig playing every Wednesday night for that whole summer semester at this bar called Bears.
Oh, Sangria, that's what it was.
It was called
It
Sangria
turned
at the
into
time,
Bears.
yeah. But nobody had anything to do in Baton Rouge, so
I'm Jacob's fact checker over here.
yeah, they would just they just started showing up. And, you know, we just had this patio, and all these kids from, like, every fraternity and sorority, word traveled fast, and Wednesday night, that's what you did. And I played for 3 hours, and Jordan drank up my entire bar tab, and that was pretty much it.
What's the age difference?
2 years, almost
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
day.
He's 2 years older than I am.
Yep.
But I can remember right when he got that, it was like, I think you had like, did you have an hour and a half and then you had a break or it was a long set.
It was an hour, then a break, an hour, a break, and an hour, a break.
So it was 3 hours.
Yeah.
So we were up there, every Wednesday. And I remember Jacob starting out and it picking up a following before he left Boudreaux and Thibodeau's. And then when he got that 3-hour gig on Wednesdays, I remember a buddy of mine picked me up after class one day. I was walking. He's like, "Hey, dude, you need a ride?" I was like, "Dude, if you can take me in my car, that'd be awesome." And I hop in the back seat, and there's this girl in the front seat, and he was like, "Hey, are you?" He was like, "Jordan, are you going to your bro tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna head up there at like 7." And then I asked this girl, I was like, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" You know, and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to see this guy named Jacob Davis play at Sangria. Apparently, he's really good." And I was like, "Whoa!" Like that was the first time that I was like, "Oh, this is like kind of picking on, like, you know, picking up steam." And that was the night that I mean, it was packed. That was like one of the first nights where like the patio was slammed. I was nervous for you, and then it just continued to grow and grow after that.
Yeah.
Until Dad. But yeah, I did drink a lot of his bar tab.
Dude, the best story is I got done with the show one night, and they would bring me a bucket of beer and put it up on the stage. And, you know, Jordan he always picked songs and wrote songs, and I knew the talent was there, and like the bug hadn't got him yet, but he would show up and he would
I would carry in your
an
mic
extra
stand.
guitar and a mic stand just so he would get in free.
Yeah, because the cover was $10.
Yeah. But I went to go close out one night, and they wrote me a check, and it was significantly lower than what I would normally get paid. And I was like, "What's up, dude?" The guy's name was Zach. I was like, "What's up, Zach?" He's like, "Oh man, there's some guys hit that band tab pretty hard tonight." And I was like, "Well, who was it?" And he was like, "Hey, I think that's him right there." And I looked down the bar, and Jordan is 4 people down from me, talking to some girl, and he just looked at me and goes, "I got you, dog. I got you." But dude, those were some of the best times. I mean, they were incredible. That was the start.
Yeah.
But
Incredible. About failed me out of LSU.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what I was
same,
going to
bro.
ask. So what actually was your degree before you moved?
So it was environmental science. We both graduated with a degree in environmental science.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how long after you moved to town, or was it before he moved to town that you actually started taking music a little more serious?
It was before Jacob left Baton Rouge. We would, pick songs together. We kind of slowly started writing songs, although we never co-wrote. I remember a couple of times like he would write, and then I would write, and we'd come out and see what we came up with. I don't know why we did this thing like, "Hey man, why don't we try to write something together?"
Yeah.
But I think the first time I ever played, you were playing that blues bar in Shreveport. Remember, me and you got up and sang a song together.
Yeah.
We sang South Side of Heaven, Bingham's
Mhm.
song. That was the first time I'd ever played on stage. So I'd been, I knew like some John Prine songs and just kind of stuff to like pick around. But I remember playing that night with Jacob being like, man, that was really cool. Like, and after that, I was like, man, I'm going to start deliberately working on writing songs. Not just a thing where like if I'm watching TV, picking the guitar and come up with something, I'll run with it. I would wake up and try to start writing songs, and that was before Jake moved to Nashville.
Yeah, but I came to Nashville about a year before Jordan did. But I remember being here and Jordan calling me, and he was working in a bar in Baton Rouge, and he was applying for jobs and this and that. And we were just talking about, I had signed a publishing deal early. Like I was here 8 months, which is crazy fast before I signed a publishing deal. But I told Jordan that, and it kind of sparked him, and he's like, well, dude, that sounds awesome. Like I would love to do that. And I remember encouraging you and being like, you can do this. He sent me some things he'd been working on just on text, like a voice memo. And I'm like, dang, man, this is really good. But I knew it. I knew that he had the talent, this and that. It's just kind of like, it's to kind of throw a little gas on the spark and say, like, dude, you can really come and do well in this business and work hard and meet great people. Because we both just got so lucky with just meeting great people that were that were on our team and on our side, as were we with them, and so it was maybe a year, and Jordan moved up here, and then it was off to the races, man.
I think too, though, like whenever I would call Jacob, I remember one night calling him, and I had been working because I was working for a buddy of mine that had an environmental company, but he also had a landscaping business with it. And so I was working on the landscaping side of it, and I called Jacob one night after swinging a weed eater all day. I went home to shower and go to my bartending gig, and I was like, dude, what's up? He's like, oh man, I'm going to listen to this guy named Travis Meadows. Like he was playing at was it 12th and Porter, I think.
Yeah.
And he was like, you should check him out, dude. He's really good. And so I looked up Travis Meadows and listened to it, and I'm driving into work listening to these songs. Amazing songwriter. And then I get out and I go in and I bartend for like 4 or 5 hours. And the whole time I was working that night, I was thinking like, dude, my brother's listening to a songwriter like that, a guy that writes songs like that right now in Nashville. And he's going to wake up in the morning and go try to write a song. Like, that was really the switch where I was like, all right, I need to move to Nashville. And it was probably weeks within that phone call.
Wow. Were y'all always close growing up?
Oh yeah.
I feel like
bunk beds. I slept on the bottom. He slept on the top.
I love the day Jacob went to college, man. I got my own room. God, dude, we shared a room until he was 18 years old.
Hey, but no lie, like don't say you didn't miss me though. Whenever I left.
Yeah, golly, dude, like
your whole life.
Yeah,
I was the same way, dude. When I got to college, I was like, dang, man, he wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
But then when he came to LSU, we lived together the whole time that I was there.
Was your music taste always the same? Like growing up, did you both listen to the same artist, or you feel like it was different?
I feel like we were both about the same. I know growing up, like probably once we got into like high school, I feel like I got a little more into like the rap scene and R&B, a little more R&B than Jacob did. But
Jordan's a big Usher guy, dude.
Yeah,
I am too.
Yeah,
I love some Usher, man. No, but I feel like up until that age where like finding new music is rebellion,
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
Although I do remember you getting that one CD snapped at the dinner table that night. You remember
God.
that? Who was that?
It was a mixtape. It was a burnt CD. It was a burnt CD. Oh, this is great. We had dinner one night, and my dad is like,
And I was, like I said, I was always the rap guy. Like Jacob never really had, like,
Dr. Dre, The Chronic, and like all that, the typical DMX. I was
that's what it was. That was the first song on that CD.
That's what it was. I don't remember the name of the song, but we're sitting at dinner one night, and I said something that was probably rappy. I don't know. I don't even really know what that means, but my dad looks at me and he gets me off the table. He goes, "Come here," and he took me in the bathroom, and he was like, "Do you know what you've been listening to?" And this and that. It calls me out, and I was like, "What are you talking about, Dad?" He's like, "I found this CD, or you left this CD somewhere," and some girl found it. And anyway, my dad's best friend, anyway, long story short, it got back to my dad. And he was like, you're not allowed to listen to that in this house, boy. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, maybe I wasn't listening to it in this house, dude.
Yeah, shove it off on. It's like,
Oh,
probably
he's just
Jordan listening to rap music.
Oh, yeah. He snapped it right in front of my face. He had it. And I tried to blame it on somebody. I was like, that's not even mine, man. That's Drew Pearson's, a buddy of mine. And he pulls the CD out and he goes, why's it got Jacob's CD on it? It had written Jacob's CD in Sharpie on it. And I was like, I don't know. I can't answer that. He just snaps it, man. But it was profane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
no, we were both like, growing up, it was pretty much the same. You know, whatever like Dad was listening to, and then obviously having Uncle Stan in country.
Yeah.
A massive country music fan. So, yeah, I mean, up until then, we were pretty much listening to.
I think my first non-country CD was the same way. I hid it under my bed in my little Walkman. And it was like Nelly Country Grammar or something.
Yeah,
like
come on, son.
Which
Come
like
on,
now
son.
is like not even bad. Like
I know.
if you listen to like go like to some of the like rap music that's out there now, like
dude,
golly, what we were listening to wasn't terrible. I mean, it probably wasn't great, but like especially for a 12-year-old. But yeah, it was pretty wild.
having kids now makes you think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
You know what I
watching
mean?
I
it
get
now.
it. Yeah,
oh
I
yeah,
get it.
yeah,
I
for
get it.
sure.
So I know that y'all said that you would send songs back and forth whenever you were living here, but how often do you two get each other's opinions on songs? Like, do you send them every day when there's a good one? Is he the first one you send it to, or?
I mean, honestly, if I, as far as opinions go, I'm probably going to go to him first.
Yeah.
I mean, on like what you think about. If I am really fired up about something,
Yeah,
and it's not even me pitching him a song.
yeah. No, I didn't think
Yeah,
that.
if we get in either my truck or his truck, that's kind of what we do. I'm like, you know, and I love that, man. I'm like, check
Yeah.
this new one out. I wrote with so and so, and he's like, oh, that's awesome, dude. Check this out. And
No,
so,
why don't you ride with me? That's what I'm saying.
but yeah, I mean, you feel the same way.
Oh yeah, I mean like like if we go out to his farm, you know, it's 2.5 hours away, so we'll swap demos back and forth, get mad at each other for not.
Oh, that
Like,
happens
dude,
all the time,
Why don't you bring that idea to me? We wrote 2 weeks ago, man. What like?
bro. Hey, on Leaving New Orleans, the first time I heard Leaving New Orleans, I was straight up pissed off. I was like, I can't believe you did not write this song.
That was
Jordan.
David though. That was he made that song. That wasn't even an idea, but yeah. I mean,
That and Slow Dance though. Like those songs,
Yeah.
I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
oh my god, are you kidding? Like,
but
I
he's
knew
got.
it.
I mean, Jake's got to he's got some now that I get frustrated. I'm like, dude, you know I'm trying to make a record, man. Like, why do you give me that idea?
We value each other's opinion
That's
Yeah.
great.
very much.
Now, as far as, so you moved to town, then you follow his lead. What was it like? Did y'all write together a lot when you were first here? Like, when was the first time that you really remember writing songs that you were like, damn, this is good?
You know, one of the first rights we had was taken from me.
Yeah.
I think either the first or second right we had was Take It From Me, and then right after that was Detours. So, I mean, we started off pretty, you know, I was just pretty comfortable. So I was writing, you know, I didn't have a lot going on. Jacob obviously signed really quick, moving to town. So he was kind of my crutch getting into some rooms that at the time I probably shouldn't have been in. But, you know, luckily having him here, you know, I kind of had his blessing on it. So I was able to write with some people that I shouldn't have. It would have taken me a little bit longer to get in a room with. But yeah, we started writing, you know, really strong songs right off the bat.
It's hard to think about how old those
I was
songs
about to
are.
ask, how old are they?
I mean, Take It From Me's 4 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that was me, Jordan, and Jason Gant, and I've been writing with Jason for a little bit, and Jordan was about to sign a publishing deal, maybe,
Well, I mean,
or you had just signed, or
like right whenever I moved to town, I moved in with Robert Philhart, who was instrumental in starting both of our careers off.
yeah,
And he was adamant that for the first year, so I say this, backtracking now, the first year I didn't write with Jacob because Jacob was a signed artist and Robert was really big on me becoming a better songwriter before I got in the room with some of these people. So, you know, I moved in 2012. Other than me and him sitting at the house and coming up with ideas, it was right at about a year until we. So I would say, yeah, I mean, take it from me, it was 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
And then, and Detours was started around then, and then it took a little while to get that one finished. But
Yeah.
so yeah, it's pretty. After that first year of me, which I didn't write a ton in the first year coming to Nashville, just because I was trying to make sure my rent was covered. So I was working and then also enjoying being in Nashville for the first time. So yeah, it was about a year before we consistently started writing.
Well, and I know with me, I have one brother, and I feel like it's very competitive between us two. So I feel like, was there any kind of competitive moment where you're like, I'm not going to write with him because I want to do my own thing and make my own name for a while? Like, I feel like that's how I would have been if my brother was in town.
I mean, as far as the competition goes, I didn't ever really feel any competition ever until I signed a record deal.
I was about to say the record deal is kind of,
and that was like that's where things got a little. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't care. It got weird for me because of people that were in my ear, telling me, "Hey, you need to focus on you, and you need to get this artist career off the ground. That does not involve your brother." And whenever that hit me, I felt weird, man. It just didn't feel right. And I hit radio tour before Jordan did, and I can still just remember hearing those words and being like, "Oh, I don't like that." I mean, it's my best friend, you know.
Yeah, and you can tell that. I mean, just sitting in here, y'all
Well,
answer each other's questions and stuff. So that's what. How long did you have your deal before you signed a deal?
I signed before
Jordan signed first.
Oh,
yeah.
I wasn't. So it was crazy. Like, you know, right when we started writing, we were writing with a friend of ours, Dave Turnbull, and for a second, David brought up, he was like, "Man, you guys would be great as a duo," and I was all for it. I was like, "Dude, I think that would be great." You know, it was right at the time that Jacob was getting attention as a solo artist, and I had just kind of made the switch to where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to be an artist. Like, I'm gonna chase this thing down, because honestly, I didn't even know that was a thing when you moved to Nashville. Like, I thought you just came to town, you wrote songs, and if somebody heard your songs and liked them, they would cut a record on you, and if a record label liked it, they would sign you to a record deal. And, you know, which was kind of the older school way, but like, we grew up with an uncle that had been here trying to do that. And so I was kind of like, well, man, you know, I want to do this duo thing. And then Jacob started getting the attention from some labels in town. And then overnight, I feel like I started getting attention. So then it was both of us as solo artists. And we were kind of like, well, man, I don't know if, you know, we're obviously brothers and best friends. The duo thing will always be there. Right now, let's capitalize on both of us getting looked at by some labels in town and see if we can both sign a deal. And I signed with Universal first, but, you know, really wasn't super ready. And I think that's where the difference is with me and Jacob on that, because, you know, that's why I love Stephanie Wright so much, who signed me at Universal. Because she told me that. She was like, you know, we love you as an artist. We love your songwriting, but I don't think we're there yet. And it was tough for me to sit there and be like, well, then why'd you sign me a record deal? But like, looking back on it, that was the absolute best thing that has ever happened to me. Whereas opposed
besides your wife and child.
Well, yeah. I mean,
this is what I mean by answering and finishing each other's sentences.
We're talking about music here.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, I think that was, you know, and leading into that, you know, when I was signing and when Jacob hadn't signed yet, there were some tense moments. A few breakfasts we had to have to kind of say, hey, man, you know, this is, and I got to give it to Jake on this. Like, he's the one that called that, because, you know, when the duo thing kind of got shot down, I was like, well, man, well, then I guess we're doing this solo. I guess you go sign your record deal. I'll go sign my record deal. We'll meet on the radio, you know, and which was not the way I should have gone about it. But Jacob, we went to breakfast one day at, God, I can't remember that spot's name.
Athens.
Yeah. And we just kind of set out and said, hey, dude, this is our jobs. This is how we provide for our families. But families first. Me and you are brothers, you know. And I hadn't even gone to radio. He'd still not even gone to radio yet. He's like, hey, dude, one of us is probably going to win. One of us is going to do better than the other one in this lane. So let's go ahead and squash that now. And he's the one that called that. And that was huge.
Yeah.
I think for both of us.
And that's one thing. I mean, I don't know if y'all know, but I started this podcast mainly because I feel like people need to hear the real stories and the stories that happen in Nashville, because there's so many people who move to this town who are talented, either a singer, songwriter, or whatever it is, and they don't really know the truth of, you know, how it all goes down and how deals happen. And sometimes you can sign a deal, like you were saying, Jordan, and, you know, sit there for a while and develop, or you can get a deal and it doesn't work out, you know, and you have to find ways to navigate those things. And I feel like so many people don't get to hear real stories. So I appreciate y'all being vulnerable enough to just be honest about it.
Oh, dude, it's like I feel like I grew so much in that time because, I mean, if I told you that it wasn't hard on me, I would be lying to you.
Yeah.
Because I told Jordan, I remember sitting at that breakfast and saying, look, because I had, you know, kind of mentors in this business that I'm so thankful for, you know, bigger songwriters and people that have told me, like, hey, man, it's so awesome you and your brother both have a record deal, but one of you is going to do better than the other. Yeah. That's just the way it is. And I think we both are competitive, and we both just assume, like, I'm going to work my ass off, you're going to work your ass off, and we're both going to win.
Yeah.
Well, you can't control how things play out. And it was hard for me. I mean, whenever I saw Jordan taking off and you're working your tail off, you're flying all over the country, going to radio stations, and, you know, you see that, there's like this weird push and pull of being like, oh my gosh, man, I've never been so proud of my brother. And then the other part's like, what the hell, man? Like, I'm working so hard too. But, you know, we're both very strong believers and very spiritual, and, you know, we just know that the good Lord played it out the way he wanted to play it out. And he's right. You know what I mean? He knows better than anybody. Yeah. And, you know, I learned so much, and I mean this with every part of me. I feel like I thought I was close to my brother before that. And then afterwards, like, I mean, I've never been closer with my brother because, I mean, he doesn't have a bigger cheerleader than me, you know, and I know why I'm doing what I'm doing.
And it was even, I mean, you know, it was tough too. Like, even that first single, you know, I remember getting out of whatever it was, the 60s, or it may have been even like the 70s, you know, which that's a big, you know, when you're down there dogfighting it out with some other songs. But the song I jumped was Jacob. So it was like, man, it's like, you know, you see the progression in your song. And at the time I was like, you know, I was looking back and I was like, damn it, man, I wish Jake could keep going too, man. And, you know, but I mean, I think it was tough. You know, it was tough it was tough on me as well.
Yeah.
To kind of see that. Probably even tougher on my mom. But
yeah, that's a whole nother story.
I can't even imagine the parent. Yeah.
But like,
she's a tough lady, man.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's like you said, you know, the good Lord has a plan for all of us. And
well, I would just like to say that I hope that duo album happens one day. Just
cut
all the songs that you didn't cut before.
One day. Yeah.
One day, dude. One day.
We're gonna have.
Also, I just wanted to talk about for a minute. I know y'all mentioned radio tour, and for people listening, that's whenever y'all travel the country and meet with radio stations. And if y'all had songs on the charts at the same time or trying to climb the charts, was that a big conversation with the radio stations? Like, is this your brother? Did they pick it up? Did a lot of people understand that? Or
it was there, but that's another thing I'm talking about with the labels. Like, I was told, hey, you don't need to talk about all that.
Yeah.
You need to spin everything back to Jacob Davis and your single. But in hindsight, like, I personally think that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because it was a talking point that radio wants to get to know you, and they want to know what they're pushing and who you are. Well, that's part of me. I mean, what a cool story. My brother's signed at Universal. I'm signed at Black River. We're both pushing singles. But, it seems like such a long time ago, man, that you just kind of trust that everybody knows what they're doing, And
I was right behind Jacob. So, for me, I was going to stations right after he was there a week and a half in front of me. So I would go in, but it was different for me. I didn't, I'd ask if he'd met Jacob yet, or it's just a total flip of.
Yeah, me being the first one out, it was different. I would have had to kind of bring it up, or they would have known about it. But Jordan, they used to leave these. I love the story, dude. You go on radio tour and you have a promo picture or whatever, your name, and you sign it. Well, I would leave mine and sign it and put it on the board, and Jordan would come right after me, and he would literally put his right over the top of mine and just pin it. Yeah. So he saw was his.
Jacob doesn't exist in radio stations.
Yeah, it's just Jordan Davis on top of every Jacob Davis. But man, we had fun with it. I think radio tour is what you make it. You get to meet people, and I think we both have a gift that we get from our dad and our mom, that we can pretty much talk to anybody.
Yeah,
so that was a good thing.
True.
Yeah, I enjoyed radio tour, man. I had a blast.
Yeah.
So talk about just since then. I mean, you have 3 number ones now, and you have hits on the radio and writing and new publishing deal and all of those things. So just talk about the transition from after it happened and how things are rolling now and where you're at, and maybe even what you want to do in the future.
I mean, I'm, blessed to have the songs and the success I've had. It's crazy to look back and think that was, it really does feel like yesterday we were both out trying to get songs played. But it's just, now I'm a record and an EP in and working on a second album. And like Jacob said, we're closer than we've ever been, and getting into a groove of writing some great songs. And so for me, it's just trying to continue to write great songs. I just had a daughter, so a lot of it for me is being able to spend time with her and putting I guess the shift of putting stuff out that I'm going to be proud one day to play for her. And that's such a thing that I never thought would come into mind when writing a song, until you're holding this little daughter that is going to look at everything you do. And now we have a little bit, the things we do are magnified a little bit more. So it's just, trying to be a good dad, trying to be a better husband, and trying to make the best music I can.
And I think I'll admit it, I listen to your stuff a lot more than most people in Nashville, so
dude, thanks,
it's great.
Man. I appreciate that.
We were actually on the way here, I was like, I hate to admit this, but you're like one of my top 5 on Spotify. I don't know if I should tell that, but I'm going to tell it.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man.
I think that I feel the same way George said.
Yeah.
I just when he talked about Eloise's little girl, my sweet baby niece out there on the back porch, it changes so much. You're I've got 3 little girls, and it's so cool to. My wife said something about this the other day, because she's been with me through all the ups and downs, and you talk about, man, maybe I just need to be doing something else or this and that. We all go through it, but she talked about, no, I want the girls to see that it's okay to chase something. It's okay to dream. It's okay to do what you love to do. And that's what we get to do every day. We make songs up. We get to go on the road and meet people, and maybe they hear a song of ours on the radio, and it puts a smile on their face. And Jordan, I didn't hear him say this, but Jordan was out with Granger Smith, and Granger, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he said one day somebody's gonna stop. They're not going to want to listen to him anymore. Is that what he said? Something like that?
Oh, he said one day you're going to play the last best show you ever play.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is you're never going to know it.
Wow.
And which is why I love Granger Smith so much, because, you know, I think Granger is there's just not a lot of better guys out there than Granger. And that just always hit me. The day he said that at a zoo in Cincinnati, you know, we were playing a radio show, and it just hammered home to where, I mean, it literally changed my outlook on going out and playing music, because, you know, there's two other things that are very important in front of music, and that's our relationship with the Lord and our family. And Granger's a walking, talking example of that. And so that one stuck with me. But yeah, that was.
We try to think about that. I try to think about that a lot, you know, because, you know, they're not always going to want to hear our songs, you know.
True.
But we get to do it now. So, you know, make hay while the sun's shining and be happy and live it, and just be thankful that we've been given the gift and been blessed to be able to do it.
We're doing good, though. We just went to Negative Town. Why don't you take me there, man?
What do you
I was
mean?
about to say, I mean, you just dropped a new EP.
I know,
the
dude.
songs are blowing up.
We're
Everything's
doing good, bro.
Oh, I don't want to take it to Negative Town. No, I want to go back. Let's go back, man.
You've already gone, dude. You dropped the Granger quote, man. It's over.
Well, I didn't think it was
But you know what I
that.
love? I truly love about that is that when we first get to town, and I don't know how y'all feel about this, but everyone is in your ear, especially for me trying to work in the business. Like, be careful. There's a lot of snakes out there. There's a lot of people that are going to tell you a lot of things and blow a lot of smoke, and you need to be careful, you know, who you're around. And the truth is, there are those people, but there's so many people out here that are genuine and true and real. And I feel like if you just navigate smart and you're honest with people and you translate it through, that you're gonna attract those people. And I love that y'all talk about family and faith first, because that's the truth. And I feel like so many people in entertainment in general get caught up in, you know, their own dreams and what they want to do, and they don't look at the bigger picture that we're not in control.
Yeah.
You know, and that sometimes you just got to humble yourself and be like, okay, what's the plan and where we're going to go from here, because this door is not opening for me.
Yeah.
You're 100% right on that, though, as far as, like, man, we had such a, and I really feel like it is, especially, and Nashville's so different than the other music spots in town. Like, there's such a heart, and I know everybody says that, and it's been said so much, that I really hope that the people that are, like, maybe on the bubble about moving to town or just got to town that are listening, it really is, dude. There's so many amazing people. I've met people in Nashville that I'll be friends with until I check out. Like,
Yep.
it's like just, and I know a lot of that is like chasing a dream and doing something you love with people of that same kind of mindset. But I mean, there's no better city in the world, in my opinion, than Nashville, Tennessee, especially the community that we're in Nashville. There may be a few bad apples, but the majority of them are some great people.
I agree, man. That, you know, we kind of learn, like, just work hard and be nice to people. I've seen that, and dude, like, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
You know, just work hard, be nice to people, and try to write the best song, because you're not going to every day by any means, but you just keep showing up, man. You know,
Well, and that's even if you're working on cars, man. Like, you take that mentality into anything you're doing, you're probably gonna be all right.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
I'm gonna take it out of Negative Town, bro.
You already went there, dude.
But
There's
I'm
no
out
going
now.
It's
back.
out.
No,
We're
I'm
out.
good.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
out.
Oh, now we're good.
Yeah, I'm good. I think I need another beer.
Well,
We'll get one after. It's all good.
We can take a break.
Zeb,
if you
don't
wanna
let
go.
me take this down, dude.
No, you didn't take it down.
dude,
I mean, the truth.
Go grab a couple
Go
beers.
grab another beer. We'll pause.
Okay.
We'll pause.
Jeez, dude.
All right. So I know that you talked a little bit about, you know, the past and stuff, but I would love to dive in a little bit more and talk to someone who maybe is moving to town, or better yet, like, what would you tell your younger self if you could go back and give some advice to yourself on things to do? What would that advice be?
I know for me,
Take it, Jordan, if you got something on top of your head. I'm gonna think about it for a minute.
yeah. You know, I think it's like human nature to think that you're gonna move to Nashville and just like shake the ground and like just everything's gonna take off and you're gonna start writing songs. They're gonna get cut, and because majority of the time you're coming from a smaller pond, and you're coming to a town that has the best songwriters in the world in it,
hands down.
And but I think one of the early things for me, somebody told me that every day you wake up and you write a song. Songwriting is the one thing that if you do it every day, you never get worse at it. I mean, you can only get better. And so for me, I took that just to heart, and I was just like, man, I'm going to write a song every day, and it's probably not going to be that good. But I stuck with it. And I think if I were to just give one piece, it would say not to put a timeline on it. Like, don't come to town and say, like me, and say, if I don't have a publishing deal in 2 years, I'm out. I'm going to go back and get a job doing this or doing that and fall into something else that pays the bills and everything checks all those boxes, and here we go with the rest of my life. I got to 2 years and I wasn't where I thought I should have been. But the reason why I wasn't there is because the talent wasn't there. I was still learning to become a better songwriter. And it was 4 years before I finally signed my publishing deal. So I would say work at it every day and know that you do have room to grow. I don't care how good you think you are, how great you think your songs are. Like I said, the best songwriters in the world are in this town and have been doing it for a very long time. So Tom Douglas is still doing it. One of the best in town, one of the best in the world. And he would probably say the same thing. He's gotten better year after year after year. So
Yep.
No timeline, and just focus on becoming a better songwriter.
Mine was whenever I was, I guess, I don't know how long I've been in town, but it was fresh. But I ran into somebody in a publishing house somewhere that had a hit, been successful, and I had nothing. I don't even think I'd signed a publishing deal at the time, but I asked him, I said, well, I'm pretty new to town, so what advice do you have? And he just looked at me and he goes, don't go home. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, don't go home. If you want it bad enough, don't go home. Just stay here. Be good to people, work hard. It'll happen. And dude, I mean, I see people like that all the time. I mean, people new to town. We have like people that we know that have moved to town that think they want it. And if it, Jordan was spot on by saying, don't put a timeline on it. I signed a publishing deal 8 months after being here. Jordan signed a publishing deal 4 years after being here.
I couldn't even imagine being here for 4 years without a job. It took me 2.5 years, and I thought I was dying.
Yeah, it's just kind of everybody's journey's different. 4 years for this guy. Now he's got 3 number ones, a killer EP that just came out, and another record working. You know what I mean? And everybody's journey is different. But if you want it bad enough, I truly believe that it will happen. And so if you're thinking about it, you're on the fence about it, but there's just
that your view of success on it. Like, it's not always number one. Like, it's not always like that stuff's great, but kind of going back to what we were saying, like, if you were to ask all three of us, what's your dream job, man? Like, what would you love to be doing? It would probably be saying what we're doing right now, working in music, writing songs, like waking up every day and thinking about music.
That true for you, Zeb?
That's true.
Yeah,
so
man.
like, is that not like awesome?
Yeah.
So don't even view it as like, oh, if I'm not, because like even that was like a number one. What if it just goes to number 3? Is it not like a huge amazing thing that happened to you that is awesome? Like, if it's just an album cut, is it not something that you got up, created, and somebody loved and put on a project? Like, just that kind of.
Well, and it's just self expectation. Like, that's exactly what you're talking about for anyone, whether it's on my side or your side. It's like you're gonna let yourself down if you set an expectation for something that's unrealistic. So that's a good piece of advice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would like to dive in. We have a little game that we put together for y'all. So for the listener, you both love LSU.
Go
And
Tigers.
these might actually
you're
be
about to
pretty
see
hard.
the
I'm going to turn it
competitive-
so you can't cheat.
Now the podcast just got serious.
Yeah.
So
All right.
we have 10 questions about LSU or
Zeb turned his
history.
computer away
Yeah,
from
I'm
me
trying-
so I couldn't.
I know
so
you'll
I couldn't
read.
see it.
Did he already see it though?
No, I didn't see
I
it.
had to scroll down.
I promise
had
I
it
didn't see
planned.
it.
I was making
Okay.
sure he didn't see it. All right. So the first question is, what was LSU's only 2 losses in 2007?
2007. That we were national champions in 2007, right?
I know.
You know the only 2 losses?
Yeah.
Alabama.
They were both Alabama.
Nope. Both of you are wrong.
Was it Florida?
Florida sounds right. Oh God.
Oh my gosh, we're way off. Who is it?
Kentucky and Arkansas.
Kentucky.
When did we get beat by Kentucky?
We
Obviously
didn't win the na-
2007.
Someone
We didn't
pull
win
out
the
the
national-
phone and Google this.
We didn't
Yeah.
win the national championship.
No.
Is it right? It's right.
I bet you the Arkansas game, that was the overtime game in Death Valley. We went like 6 overtimes. The final score was like 50 something. We're getting a Google check. I promise
you
you,
both lost.
that was Darren McFadden. Darren McFadden year. He was
That sounds right.
All right, ready?
Damn,
We'll move
Kentucky
on.
and
We'll move
Arkansas.
on.
There's no way that we were national champions.
I
then.
swear we went to LSU. We both graduated too, I promise you.
Yeah, but man,
Since you're talking about national championships, we'll skip to number 4. How many national championships has LSU won?
oh man.
I'm gonna say 4.
No. You gotta go. You got more than that.
Oh wait.
Yeah. So 58, I think, was like one
Yeah.
of the first ones. 2003, 2007, 2020, or 19.
I'll give you a hint. 53 wasn't counted in this because they weren't recorded then.
Okay.
Jordan was right.
4?
Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah, he was right.
I was about to say, Zeb, you just like if I would have missed 2, if I would
No,
have missed that.
I wanted to let this go on.
Well, I was counting them up. I was getting there, but if you're not recording that one, then I was right
No,
because I was going to
58.
say 5.
I don't know.
I think there was 3 unrecorded. So it
Okay.
made 7.
All right, so 4.
The Bluegrass Miracle game in which LSU survived an upset by Kentucky was in what season?
Okay, I remember. I was in high school, so I'll say 2003,
4. I'm gonna say 2004.
2002.
Yeah,
2002.
2002.
Gummit.
Not Marcus. Devery Henderson.
Devery Henderson. That's right. That's right.
Who has the most touchdowns in LSU history?
Joe Burrow.
Good answer.
Boom. You didn't even hesitate, son. Number 9.
LSU was playing against what team in the earthquake game? Do y'all know what the earthquake game was?
Oh yeah. God, who was that?
Auburn.
Yep.
Auburn.
Oh, it was Auburn.
Boom.
I would not have said Auburn. I was gonna go like weird East team.
No,
like
man.
South Carolina or something.
No. Loud.
I
Think
know.
loud.
Before Ed Ogeron was the coach for LSU, where was he coaching?
USC.
Yep.
I gotta say, Zeb, these are like, I was
No, I
expecting
like it.
softball.
No, I
these
like
are
it.
great.
Well,
I like
I thought you were really good fans, so I guess we're gonna have to
Whatever.
go
Wait,
back.
we are.
Shots
I
fired.
thought.
Which LSU head coach has the most number of wins ever at LSU?
You going way back?
Jerry DiNardo.
Yeah, right.
Starts with a C.
Coach.
Coach.
I don't know.
I hope this is right.
Coach.
I'm
Charles
sure it is.
McClendon.
Charles
Okay.
McClendon.
Yeah.
Which LSU running back is the all-time leader in career rushing yards?
Falk.
You're
Yep.
gonna say,
That's
oh,
it.
dude, I was gonna go my boy JV.
No, son.
We used to drink at Bogey's
Justin
together.
Vincent?
Justin Vincent, baby.
Yeah, dude.
So y'all didn't get to lose. I mean, y'all got about 6 right.
I would have gone Kevin Falk there. Like
Yeah.
in all expatriate.
But you didn't.
I was actually proud. I learned stuff about LSU. I grew up a Florida fan, so you know.
Yeah. Get out.
We hated
Dude,
y'all.
I
Get
was,
out.
No. I was, dude, in high school, I loved
yeah.
Florida. Rex Grossman,
Yeah.
Jabbar Gaffney. Those are my guys.
Well, in my family, they weren't huge Florida.
Chris
They
Leak?
weren't huge
Yeah.
football fans. So whenever I got into college, I wasn't going to Florida, but I was going to a small college in South Georgia, and it was closer to Florida than it was UGA, and it was like the Tebow years. So you know,
yeah.
you go to one game and you're like all in.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Well, I just want to. We're probably going to wrap up, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about give you the opportunity, Jordan, to plug your music and what you have out now and where people can follow you and all of that stuff.
We just released the EP. It's just self-titled EP. But JordanDavisOfficial.com. I'm probably most active on Instagram, although my team would probably say I'm not active on any of my socials. I'm working on that, though. But, yeah, fired up about this EP, and then also working on a record to hopefully release this year. Obviously, it's a crazy time right now. But and then just looking forward to hitting the road whenever they let us hit the road again. So, but, yeah, y'all check out JordanDavisOfficial.com.
Jacob, throw your socials out there so everybody can follow that family of yours.
Jacob Davis Music.
Them girls.
All across the board. If you like pictures of hunting and 3 beautiful baby girls. Occasionally my brother makes the feed, so.
Yeah, whenever I record one of his songs.
That's not true.
Speaking of that, which ones on the EP did you write?
I wrote Little Lime and Detours. And I will say Detours is probably the most real song I've ever been a part of. So pretty awesome that me and Jordan were able to tell our story through that, about meeting both of our wives. Yeah. And, there's things about us when we were in high school and college, that it's so true, man. I think that's why country music is what it is, baby.
Living like a heathen.
Living like a heathen.
And there's more to come, I hope. I've heard a few work tapes.
Heck yeah, man. I'm happy to be doing it, and I don't know, we're having a lot of fun. Very fortunate to be doing what we're doing.
We got another song releasing soon. Need to Not.
Yeah, Need to Not. Me and Jordan and Matt and Josh Jenkins, 2 bros.
Y'all write with them a lot, don't you?
We do.
Dude, you should do this with the Jenkins bros.
That would be awesome. I actually don't know them that well, so we'll have to make that connection.
And they're amazing.
I know they write with our people and stuff, but I don't.
Yeah.
They're the best. Yeah. Zeb, you're the man, buddy.
Yeah, thank y'all for taking the time.
Thank you for doing this, man.
Really.
This was a lot of fun.